love Mid-Michigan, but one of my favorite ways is to learn about how Mid-Michigan came to be the place that we know and love today. And sitting next to me is somebody who shares that same love for history, so much so that he actually wrote another book about it. So Mitch Lutzke recently published Stories from Williams Past Volume 2, which gives us a unique look back in time. So welcome to the show, Mitch. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you
Okay.
here because this is my favorite topic, history, of course. Now, let's start from the very beginning because this is not your first book. So
No.
how did you become an author? What led you to this?
My first book was dealing with my great-great-grandfather who fought in the Civil War. He actually was involved in a very controversial court-martial case, and the family story that was passed down did not match the court-martial outcome and what we thought about him. So as I was researching it, it was called The Life and Times of Kimber M. Snyder. I found out the court-martial actually went really well for him. He was promoted. So I wrote this book kind of as a gift to my family. And then I wrote my second book. It's not called Volume 1, but Stories from Williamston's Past in 2014. And I donated some of the proceeds to set up an endowment fund at our local museum that I'm the president of, because basically everybody else had done the job as president. So we set aside some money for the endowment fund. And then I wrote a book in 2019 about the Page Fence Giants Black Championship baseball team that won a Michigan Notable Book Award. So that was kind of cool. They sent me around the state to talk to people, and I've spoken at the Baseball Hall of Fame this past spring, about players in the book.
Wow.
And then this one came out only about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Stories from Williamston's Past, Volume 2. And I'll give some proceeds again to the museum so we can keep our programming going as well.
Wow, that's incredible. But, you know, on top of being an author, you were a Williamston high school teacher and coach.
Yep.
But in a way, you're still teaching through books. So I just have to ask, what is it about educating people that you love?
I don't like stupid people. So it's like, you can't get mad at people if you don't give them an opportunity to learn or to provide them resources. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to talk about our history of our town. There's some good stories in there, there's some bad stories in there, and there's sports and women and entertainment. But I like to spread the word about what makes you unique as a person with my first book, or what makes the community you live in unique. Because every community could do this.
Yeah.
You get somebody at the museum or a teacher or just a volunteer, you could put together a story of your community. Then you have that shared learning, that commonality. You kind of feel like you're kind of in a, one big story, that you're a chapter of it. So I just like doing that, but I like kind of telling people and kind of setting some rumors like, no, this didn't take place here. This is folktale. This is not true, but it was like this. So I just kind of like doing that same thing in my classroom. I'll just kind of tell them a story. You take in, you think, critical analysis, and then you kind of figure out where you fit in the whole big picture.
Perfect. And it's so cool because not only are you writing about it, you're also a part of the community that you're writing about.
Yep.
Oh, that is so cool. Well, thank you so much. The conversation does not end there, though. We have so much more to talk about with author Mitch Lutzke. After the break, we're going to talk about his book covering local history called Stories from Williamston's Past, Volume 2. Stay with us.